do we bring out, how do we bring out the best in our husband? And we're going to have bulletproof plans by the end of today on how to do this. But I want to start with 3 stories to get us clear on what the issues are in a household. Okay, so the first story. A family called the Weintraubs, made up name, this is all fake, don't sue me because you're the Weintraubs and you're upset at me. Okay, the Weintraubs were moving into a new apartment. The space was very limited in this apartment, and there was a little part of the kitchen that had a little table that had 2 seats on it, and this woman had 4 children. Not going to work. So she had in her mind to get a kitchen nook. Does everyone know what a kitchen nook is? It's kind of like, it's like a L-shaped bench on one side, a bench on the other side, and maybe at this side there's a bench or there's a chair, whatever. It's a little kind of thing, but that way, if you can squish a lot of kids in there. If people have friends over, fine. Everybody can squish. The husband did not like this idea. He said, those are so uncomfortable, so maybe it's good for a lot of kids, you're right, but anybody else we have over and sits in the table, it's not so comfortable. So let's get a regular table, dear. And she's like, well, I want a kitchen nook. Hear the problem? Does this ring a bell for anybody where you come to this loggerheads? How do you solve this problem? Okay, this is a Q&A. This is like we're doing a reverse Q&A. You guys are going to give the answer. So I just want to know, the question is, how should they go about making this decision? He's on one side of the fence, she's on the other side of the fence, or 2 sides of the fence, or something. Yeah, right, on both opposite sides of the fence. Thank you. They're on opposite sides of the fence. How do they go about even making this decision? I'm not talking about resolving it now. I'm talking about a global solution to how do they solve this problem. Everyone's looking at me like this.
She should ask, who's in the kitchen more, percentage-wise, that the one who's more in the kitchen and is more involved with the kitchen wins.
Okay, did you hear that?
It's the odds are just in her favor.
The odds are in her favor.
In her favor.
And I was once told by a rabbi when we moved into this house, he told at the Chanukah Bayis, he said that the home is the woman's domain and she should be in charge of decorating and how she...
Hear ye.
He said it's women's.
I wouldn't say that.
That's what he said.
I would say you should explain your thing very well.
No. He said this. My husband heard it.
I like that.
I loved
the
it.
woman, she goes to the rabbi and says, the woman's domain is the home.
It's her
And
house.
you
And
should
she
discuss
should.
it and
No,
have
he
the
didn't
other
say that. He
opinion.
just said, he was saying like in case, like he was just saying as like he gave up, when we just had no furniture, everything.
No, obviously it is the woman's domain. I agree with that. Obviously the woman is the one who's in the house and knows, but it doesn't mean
the woman should worry about how she wants to decorate. It's the woman's. He said it's the woman's.
you mean decorating?
It's her house. She should be. She stays in it. She should do it how she pleases and
Meaning
how she
whatever's
sees fit.
comfortable for
I was
her.
very
to
shocked.
to manipulate.
'Cause,
Whatever's
like,
comfortable for her.
Okay,
Right.
whatever. But
Right,
I'm saying,
right.
you have the same.
Right.
Right,
Because-
and that's why I'm thinking like this wouldn't happen, because can't you like explain your reasoning on both
I'm
sides
saying
and then
he heard this.
one
Rabbi
makes
said it. I
more
thought it was very
sense.
interesting.
You're
that,
saying the
like,
rabbi said,
woman-
done
home is a
story, the
woman's
woman's
domain.
choice,
Like-
finished.
Right. The only
Kitchen
good
nook.
part about that was the rabbi said it to her husband.
No, he didn't. He said it was a Chanukah. We had a meal. He said
But your husband wasn't around?
No, the whole world.
Oh, good.
Everybody
Everyone was
there.
around.
He
Good.
spoke.
Oh, good.
Like it was
Good.
like a
He said it.
Oh, it was a
Yeah.
lecture.
It was a Chanukah.
You know,
It was like a
it's
dessert
a
reception,
matter
and
of,
he
like,
said
okay,
that it's the woman's, and the husband should worry about the ruchnias, and the woman is her
Spirituality.
house.
But you never
Even
want
he
to
said
go
the
into
the
a
house is a
decision
woman's.
like that.
The kids at home. She's with. It's her.
Oh,
you know,
even the
she
kids
should-
too?
That she's in charge.
She's with home with
Yeah.
everybody. This is her house.
A
This is
woman
her-
At
is
the end of the day, for Shalom Bayis, you want to go
course.
into every decision on the
Yes,
same page.
of
Because
course.
let's say this
On
lady...
the same page, you
On
said?
the same page.
Uh-huh.
Because let's say this lady said, well, I'm getting the kitchen nook. And then, it's the
know how
type
to
that
do it.
like
You have to know
everyone
how to
bumps
say it.
themselves on it or something. Like, there you go. I told you not to get the
Kitchen
You
nook.
want to go into it on this with any decision, and
She
there's
has
got to
how
be...
say it. She has to get him to
Right.
want her to have what she wants.
Convince him that the nook is better.
So you're saying
Yeah.
She has to use
charm.
her womanly charm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Use her charm to get him to get the nook, but bottom line, she gets the nook.
Exactly. Look, we're like, bottom line, get the nook.
I'm saying she's home.
No,
all day,
I wouldn't
like,
say bottom line get the nook. I would say convince
You're
him.
on the wrong side of the team here.
No, because I know that it would backfire. It was.
Someone would bump their hip on it, or somebody, or they would have his mother and father there, and their mother and father trying to get into the
It's
kitchen.
also
nook.
just
Yes.
not a good feeling
Yeah.
to buy something in your kitchen, in your home, against someone's home.
But
It's
you know,
just
the
not
truth
a
is,
good
I understand
feeling.
why he doesn't want the couch.
And you'll
or
hear
the
about
nook.
it every time
What
she
she should do is she should get the
Wait,
nook.
one at a time so we can
She should
hear.
get the nook, and she should get also a chair. So
Yes,
he could have
that's
his
what I was
chair. Like she
thinking.
could have it because
A nook
I
with a
understand
chair.
why. Because I
Yeah.
have these benches here, and
Right, no one
they don't
wants
really
to
like
sit
it.
It's like
They're
they can't get
temporary,
out.
but
That's what
so
I
they
would
like
say.
chairs.
Find
so
a
We
way.
can have it bench, and we'll have
A compromise.
I'm getting a bench, and then I'm going to have a chair for the
Yeah.
guys. Like,
Like
you
a-
know,
what were you gonna say?
It's a compromise.
You were just saying something, Jeremy.
What
I
I
cut
think,
you off
make
by
it-
saying one person at a time.
Make it feel like it's his decision. Maybe I said
Yeah,
that.
yes.
Oh, make it feel like it's
What if she
his
gets the
decision.
nook? It's not his decision.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
That's
discuss
taking
it,
it
and
to
then
the
it
next
comes from
level.
him. Like it's his
Yeah.
idea.
So,
Yeah.
but
That's
you're
the-
saying no matter. Wait,
This
do you have an
is getting
example of
5
how would you do that? Wait, what is she saying? I want to hear what she said. It sounded good.
Yeah,
You
it
can't-
sounded
no
good.
shit.
Yeah,
No
we're getting a
secrets in here.
time you're reading. She just came.
No
so I filled her in.
secrets in
So
here.
now-
Oh, you're filling her in. Okay, all right. Okay, so what do you mean? Give me an example. How would you get him to think it's his idea?
You discuss it enough, and then you're like, so what do you think? Give all the reasons why you need it. Just I can't feel like I
Yeah.
said we need a nook and that's it.
Compromising way that
You whisper in his ear every night subconsciously while he's sleeping. It's And like then a in the lot. morning It's he's like, like, I think I need a nook. Yes,
Just
honey.
show him that it will fit
It
more
has to be
people.
like so slow
And he can still
process.
have
So
his
then you're
chair.
saying convince him. You're saying
Say, listen, you know what? It will fit more people, and you could still have your chair. You don't have to be on the nook. You can
Hey,
have
let's
your
get a
chair.
nook.
And the kids, they like it. It's a bench. It's fun. It fits more friends. And then you could have we'll get you a chair for one corner, and the other two could have.
If people are open to being reasonable, it usually.
Then usually everything works.
Say that again. If people are open to being reasonable,
Yeah, and listening to other person's,
side of view.
viewpoint,
Yeah.
then you can usually get there.
Okay, but we have to assume that the guys are too busy and they're on their phone and their
Right.
work is that they're not reasonable
Right.
for the most
Why
part.
are we assuming that?
Why? Because if we assume that,
nobody can
if we assume that and overcompensate, we'll win. Whereas this way, assuming that they're going to reason like. Let's say we are the charmingest, charming. How do you say that? Charmingest. Let's say we're the charmingest person, and we charm them, and they're so excited. Isn't it great? And because this, and we have a lot of people, and then they come back and say, "You've got a lot of good points, but no."
Right.
I mean, it could be that there's a huge reason from his past that he just doesn't want a certain item.
Yeah.
You know, he had a nook growing up, and it brought
And his
back
brother
memories.
always elbowed him the whole time, and he
Right.
couldn't
and
get out to go to the
It could very
bathroom.
well be that you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah. So he needs to go to therapy for that, and you get the nook. And part of therapy is working through it by sitting on the nook and working out the nook. He's got to do that.
It's really funny. He's gonna put blindfolds on and breathe deep and do yoga on top of the nook. Yes, we're there. Okay, that's our new prescription. Okay, put that in the notes below so people know how to do that. Okay, so no. Okay, so here's the issue. That what we're looking for here is tactical maneuvers. How do you make decisions that build your husband up? I get, confident. These powerhouse women, they come to me like, Leah, everything's fine, wonderful. But just a note, I really would love to look up to my husband. I would really love, but he does such dumb things and his decisions are so dumb and whatever. I want to look up to him. I would give my left arm to look up to him. What does that translate?
And to your husband, how do you say it? But it says in the Bible, "Ve'eli shech tshukatech v'hu yimshol bach."
Yeah.
That's what it says.
How do you translate it?
How do you translate?
What are the words say?
It's to look up.
Ve'el
It's a
shech
woman wants to
tshukatech.
look up to her husband. I know this.
Tshukatech.
I have the source right here.
It's in Bereshit.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So what she's saying is a woman wants to look up to her husband. How many? You don't have to raise your hands because it's maybe too private. How many people want to look up to their husbands? Everybody does. You want? Yeah. Okay. We're raising it. So everybody wants to look up to their husband. Hold on, you guys. You can tell it after the class. Oh, sorry, because the microphones pick everything up, and then they can't hear what anybody's saying. Okay, sorry, it's okay. So when everybody wants to look up to their husband, and then we do all kinds of things that tear them down and notch them down and make them feel bad and whatever. So what we're trying to look for here, this is bringing out the best in our husband. We want to bring out the best. So how do we do that? So here we're talking about an issue about a kitchen nook, and we have a bunch of answers on the floor of what we think we should do. We're going to go on to problem number 2, and then we're going to come back to that, okay? When we look at our sources, we're going to look inside to see how do you answer the kitchen nook problem, okay? Problem number 2. You guys ready? On the edge of your seat? I'm expecting you. You guys are going to tell me the answer. Okay. A couple has a daughter. Her name is Allie. I made that up. Is that like anyone ever called Allie? I was trying to, yeah? Okay, I'm getting nods. Okay, good. Allie, and she speaks very harshly. So she has a hard time thinking before the words come out of her mouth. Okay, I don't know if you have kids like that. Some of us do.
Teens.
Some of us teenagers. Yeah, maybe all teenagers have this. Fine. Okay, impulsive. For instance, her sister came down with a new outfit she just bought, and her sister says, that skirt makes you look very fat. Okay.
Allie says.
Allie says this to her sister, right? Okay. These are all based on things that I actually have heard. How do you fix a kid like this? Okay. So, Shabbos table, mother serves this new soup. She's trying gazpacho, okay? I don't know if you ever had gazpacho. It's actually quite good. It's tomato with all kinds of vegetables, celery, and what do you put in gazpacho? Onions and whatever. So it's very acquired taste, but it's kind of neat. And they put vinegar in it, so it's got like spicy, whatever. Anyway, so she puts gazpacho before her daughter, and her daughter tastes it, goes, disgusting. Disgusting, okay? This is what the husband did in both these occasions, both when she said you look fat and another occasion when she said that this soup was disgusting. Her father turned to her and said, go to your room. Go to your room. The mother felt that was like answering harsh with harsh. Wrong method. So what the mother did is she turned to the daughter and said she was going to emotionally work this process through with her daughter to solve everything and to make sure that it was handled correctly because her husband obviously did not handle this correctly. Okay? Her method was to turn to her daughter and say, dear, how would you feel if someone said your outfit made you look fat? How would you feel? And then her daughter went on and basically just spent the next 5 minutes with the whole table listening, justifying why she did what she did.
I would want them to tell me I look fat.
I would want them to tell me. And she did look fat. And yes, she has put on weight. I mean, it got worse and worse.
And I'm her sister, and I should make sure she looks good.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Fast forward to the soup. Gazpacho. Ew, disgusting. Right? The father said, go to your room. The wife said, hold on a second, not wanting to harsh with harsh, and she turned to her daughter and she said, listen, daughter, how would you feel if you trying a new recipe, you looked in a magazine, said, oh, let me try this, and you served it and someone said disgusting. And her daughter answered the same thing. Yeah. I would want people to let me know. I would never pick that recipe. What'd you say? I don't want you to ever make it again. Exactly. So the daughter had her beautiful justifications. More importantly, she did not get the correction. She got the justification for where she was. That was the end of that situation. So the question is, now we're asking the question, how should this been handled? Was the husband right? Was the wife right? And the question is, we are looking here, this is for Shalom Bayis, this is for peace in the home. We're trying to connect and be closer to our husbands, right? So these are the little tiny things that happen in a household that cause friction, cause tension. And here's the thing, ladies, that you have to know. They cause a man to not be as strong as we daven and wish he would be. We want a strong husband. And then we go and undermine him with issues, with things like this. This is why I'm picking these very tricky, icky type of things. We can learn from them. These are very common, what I'm talking about. So the question is, in this situation, same as the kitchen nook, he wants one thing, she wants another. There's conflict. How does it get resolved? Here, we've got conflict. 2 different ways of handling this child. I don't know which one's right, which one's wrong. I'm not saying which one's right and wrong. I don't know. Maybe he's sending to your room is harsh with harsh. Maybe there's some meld between the two. How should this be dealt with in a husband and wife situation? Let's hear.
Well, they're very different situations because one is in front of the child and one is not. So the kitchen nook, you have more time to try and work your
Process
magic.
it.
Yeah.
Got it.
But
Good point.
with the kids, obviously, I think, every
Interaction.
parenting class or kind of thing that I've heard would always say, like, once it's said, you follow along and you be on the same page, and you have to have a united front and back them up. And if you want to go to the room later and explain how would you feel, that would be an appropriate time to do that. But you have to stand
In front,
behind.
have a united front.
Yeah.
With you on that. What else? Who's had teenagers? Hello.
That's really it.
I think
Yeah.
you just have to listen and hear where they're coming from. Like, you don't like a spot, like, what don't you like in it? You don't like the celery? I'll try to accommodate that. I won't put celery. Would you want it without celery? Or just not?
But at that moment, which is so sweet, but at that moment when it's happening, this is obviously a girl that she needs to understand. It's the world today. Everything could be said. Whatever's on your mind, you can spew out. We see it across.
Don't eat it.
No, but the point is, the minute that she said it and her father said, go to your room, that should have been go to your room, because the way she's behaving at that moment is not appropriate. They could deal with it afterwards, but she's bringing negativity and disgustingness into wherever they're at,
And
the
now
table,
anyone else
whatever.
who hasn't tasted the soup.
Exactly. He's like sitting there thinking about she's
Right,
destroyed a
right,
certain
right.
amount. So her
Tastes
first place is to remove her from there, regardless if it's right or wrong. The wife should have backed up the husband.
Is to see that their parents
Are one team.
and that
Exactly.
they say go to your room and they
Exactly.
follow through with it. That
Yeah.
words
Yeah.
mean something,
Yeah.
and when you tell something, you do
Yeah.
it. That's like the best.
Because even
lesson.
stopping her at that moment and saying, what don't you like about it? It's, I don't know, when you're serving food and you're making food for your family, it's very nice if not everyone likes everything, but don't eat it. Don't choose not to eat it. I can't make my dinners. I always tell my kids, I'm making dinner. You may have a preference for something, tell me before, and I'll try to see. If I'm making a salad, I'll pull out certain things. I'll pull out a little thing. I'm not gonna make you something special. There's always cereal and milk and fruit,
So I meant.
And tortillas with
Right.
cheese.
Tortillas with cheese.
That's
Exactly.
not what would come out of my mouth on the spot.
On the spot,
When
okay,
I
okay,
revisit it, that's
okay,
what I
good.
would say.
Okay,
No,
that-
I
yeah.
wouldn't have those.
Oh, not on the
Yeah,
spot.
'cause I'm
You
like,
had
on
a
the
point
spot,
you were gonna make.
Because on the spot, it's hard.
Well, the issue is a little deeper, I think, because situationally, okay, agreed, let her support her husband. But at the end of the day, let's say, in theory, we're dealing with teenagers or any type of child, and one parent has a very specific approach that's maybe not quite as sophisticated. Because let's be real, oftentimes that's not the most sophisticated way of dealing with a situation or a particular child's needs. So my question would be, when two parents have different views on how to parent or how to parent that particular child, or one parent has deeper insight into the needs of that particular child, and
How
that
it
go
should
to
be
your
handled,
room
yeah.
is really wrecking up the whole gestalt of the parenting, how then, beyond now the kid's in the room, the wife is seething because she's been working with this particular child,
And he just
perhaps,
wrecked it. He kind of ditched.
and he just came in and took the easy way out and train wrecked it. So, and maybe he does this a lot. Maybe he is not home and enough to parent or have a relationship that's meaningful with this child, or gets easily frustrated. How does the parenting work then between a husband and wife, where she can share in a way that's not offensive to him, that his method might not be working in this situation?
Yes.
It's about how to,
Right.
you have to discuss, no,
Right,
that's, right,
right.
everyone's answering
She's
what they
seeing
would
from
tell
the
the
other
kid.
side,
Right.
which is fantastic.
Which is
point.
great.
It's
But
fantastic.
at that moment, what would you do?
Well,
That's
yeah.
the question.
Okay.
The first
We
moment
solve
of him
that
saying it.
moment. Okay,
So we
yes,
totally
you
got
have-
that. It was great. Thank
Right.
you for iterating that very clearly.
Right,
Okay.
but then beyond, it often happens, I think, I mean, I've got a lot of teenagers, I feel like all my kids are teenagers, and they will be forever for the next 40 years. There are often conflicts that occur among parents when it comes to how to handle these teenage conflicts. And when you're angry at your spouse because you've been doing something a certain way and they are not sensitized to that, or they disagree with you and you feel like you always have to go along with them for the sake of shalom, then that also erodes a marriage or parenting or a specific part of your marriage. So when are we going to get to the point where we figure out what to do then?
Right.
That's my question.
That's what we're getting to. That's what we're gonna. You by the end of today, you will hopefully, God willing, you'll know the answer to that. So, but the question is, the question on that table right there that we didn't answer is the fact of there's this, there's two sides of this thing. Both are right, both are wrong. The issue is, how is it between the husband and wife?
Basically, I mean, it's not the same idea, but it's the same thing as like she wants this, he wants this, she wants it this way,
Right. So it
he
all
wants
boils
that way.
down to communication, but I
It
think
does,
also
and
the
it
trick is that if you're gonna wait for the Shabbos table with the
has to be discussed
gazpacho
before.
or the kitchen nook to be such an issue, then it's gonna be
A blow up.
Yeah, if you communicate if you've been working with a certain child and you've been, having thoughts about that, the more you communicate it and you're on the same page, then
Take him out to dinner and discuss it.
Your husband, your husband.
Yeah, let's go out. I
I want to tell you about what's going on with
the
the daughter. She's harsh.
and you have to say why you think the way you're doing
Yeah,
it is right.
exactly.
And you have to back it up with,
Right.
sources
So that
of
when
people,
they're
and
in
then-
this
One
situation.
conversation, ladies. You have to share with us. What are you saying?
Yeah.
What? Come on. No secrets in here. Let's hear.
If only that were so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because I was just gonna say, I agree. I don't think they're gonna hear it. They have their own, correct.
But you
correct.
have a way that
Correct.
you're doing this obviously because you didn't just it's there's something backing it. There's sourcing. You're not just taking it out of your head. If you would show this to him and
1,000%.
then
But that's an art in and of itself.
No, he won't always see it. He won't always see it.
BTW, we will hear in the Ladies Talk Show in the coming weeks, months, maybe it might be a month. We will cover communication and how to
Right,
make this
right.
golden, how to communicate. We call it how to communicate for results. So it's not going from, it's going from bonding, but it's going for results. What is going to actually work? What's going to not make your husband defensive? So we will get there, okay? But right now, what she's saying is that's at least a start. If he's on page and he knows, listen, last week when she said that his sister's so fat, your sister, whatever,
again,
Right.
Let's try let's try it.
Working,
Give it 6 weeks or give it. You know what I'm saying? This, convinced.
No,
Seem
but
like you
this
have-
woman is obviously undermining her husband's authority constantly. She's always second guessing him. If he says go to your room, period. Who cares? Figure out that if you choose peace, Hashem is gonna fix her anyways. The end result is gonna be you're gonna win. I'm telling you,
You've been in this class too long.
No, not true. No,
You're-
again, I've been in this
you're-
class. Yes, no. But I've been there, done that. That was me. I was the one who was. Oh, we have to psychologically do it this way or your way, or I would see things and he would say something and I would say it my way, even if I thought I was doing it so eloquently. I wasn't going against what he said. No.
I'm saying that you're teleporting to what we're about to.
Because I was in that boat of doing it so wrong, I always undermined him because I saw him doing something and I always either felt bad for the kid or I knew more information, or I always used to say to him, this was my famous line, I don't come to your office and tell you what to do with your employees, right? I'm home all day with the kids. I know more about their background. I know that kid came home upset that something happened in school, and I know that kid just bothered him, and I know so much more to the picture than you do, and you're coming in and it's like, boom, 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 goodbye. So I'd always be trying to manipulate the situation, and in the long run, I undermined him all the time, and my kids, being very savvy, always knew that mom was gonna be able to get in underneath, and it didn't work. It didn't work. So I could tell you that it doesn't
You
work.
could still say daddy's in charge, but
Right.
you could still also, if you do see that there's an issue with this kid and the way he's doing it is not working, and it's just
But
getting
that's
worse and worse and worse.
eventual. You first have to
Step
get to
in.
the point where you are constantly, whatever he's saying and doing,
that's
you are
okay,
just
yeah.
accepting. Took me through your class, and even now I it's
Work-
very hard
it's a
for me. I
work-
backpedal
we're
all the
working
time.
process.
Yeah.
So I want to say that in Marriage Secrets, I have a example. It's very kind of harsh and scary. I'm not an advocate of harshness, but I will tell you there is a story of a woman who came to me, and she had a teenage daughter who was just about, I think, 13 or 14, very, very harsh. And she looked back, and we had a big talk. Anyway, it's all explained there. But basically, she kept undermining her husband. Her husband was, anytime the daughter, who was harsh and sassy and didn't listen, whatever, the husband's response was very male, like, put a sock in it, go to your room, very, very harsh responses. And the wife, who was into the psychology of it and was working on psychology with this kid, failed. And not only did it fail, but also now the woman, the daughter, didn't respect the husband. So at the time when she needed her husband to be, a teenager needs what's the authority figure? What would you call it? Stability. He needed somebody to turn to look up to. But her husband, she had trashed her husband and put him down. So he was like down there. So of course the daughter's not going to listen to him. The reason to let your husband have his way on some of these things is because when your kid turns a teenager, they need somebody to look up to. So even if it's not right what he's doing, there is a thing to undermining him in public, and that's the point that you brought out.
Also, not only the way you communicate, what's on your face. That's hard.
That's very tricky.
Yeah, they'll look at your face to be like, you're on my side, right? Like,
Yeah.
And you have to be like,
Yeah.
You should see her face. So cute. She's like, it's true. So try and hide it on your face too. Okay, let's go to story number 3. Ready, guys? You guys have to listen closely because you're the ones who are going to be answering this question. All right? Ready? Okay. Manny needs to get work for his business done after dinner. So they set up a desk sort of in the back of their living room, in the living room on one side, they put a desk there. He has everything he needs, computer, papers, a lot of papers, okay? Mail, everything goes there. Problem is, Manny tends to be on the messy side, and the desk always looks like a tornado hit it. And it's a big bone it's a lot of tension in the household because she's keep trying to tell him to, nag him to clean it up, and it's just a big mess over there. So it causes a lot of friction, and it happens to be in the main room, so it's very hard for her. She's always upset about him about the mess, and he's always defensive and annoyed at her for nagging about him. They have a lot of kids, and he's got one private space in the house that's his. That's his and only his, and that's that location. If they could afford it, she would go out and buy one of those huge cupboards that you shove everything and you just kind of try and close the doors. Good luck trying to close the doors. Shove it and whatever, and it's got a lower
shove
thing.
Him
and
in it with it. Big enough to shove him inside. And go
shove
inside
the
your
guy,
closet.
right. There we go. So, but that's not in the budget. So what she did is she bought these wooden boxes at a garage sale, and she put, she just keeps his stuff whenever it's looking messy, and she boxes it in there, which annoys him. But so far the boxes are still there. Question: how should they go about handling this situation?
She could tell him, listen, I know that you like to work with a lot of papers around, and it probably, some people, geniuses are disorganized. She could, compliment like that, and then she could say, but on the other hand, I really, when I go into this room, I get a headache. So, maybe we could work out a way that you can have your papers and you can work out a system that, it's neat enough for her and messy enough for him. They could be boxes or stuff out. There's trays.
So
paper
try and
trays.
come up with a
come up
compromise that
together.
he's happy with,
I
rather
don't think
than.
it's such a big issue. This is not such a big issue.
Can't you just close the door?
It's part of the main room.
living room.
It's
It's
in the
part of
main
the living
room.
room.
His desk.
So
He has a
maybe,
little desk.
Corner it off with plants.
That's what I was gonna say. A partition or something.
Yeah, those screen
Yeah,
things.
the screen partitions. Yeah.
Yeah, probably work. She said that it was a smaller room.
No, yeah, by the way, it is a big deal, and my poor husband has one little entry piece right when you walk in, a little tiny thing, the poor guy, one little thing out of the whole house, and my stuff is in every corner, in every place, and my little bins and my stuff and my tchotchkes, and he has one little place, and it's a drawer that he puts and a unit, and he puts his things inside, and in the drawer he puts things, and
I
every
love the way
single
she
time...
said drawer, don't you? Like
Yeah,
I said
a drawer.
A drawer.
A drawer. It's a drawer. It's a drawer.
Drawer.
And no, it could be closed. But his gripe is that anytime there's stuff for him, mail or things that come, I go and I put it inside that drawer. I open up the drawer and I put it inside. He's like, I don't want things. I know what's in my drawer, and when you have things for me, don't put it inside the drawer. Leave it on the side or whatever, and I'll go through it and I'll decide what goes in. And I'm like, no matter what, when there's stuff and I'm cleaning the house and I see his papers and stuff, I put it into the drawer.
A nice decorated box that goes on top of that piece and put it in.
Yeah,
And say, you
so-
know what, this is what you have to go through, and this is
Right.
your drawer.
So I did that also, but bottom line is that it's such an issue, and you would think that who cares? Why can't I just keep his stuff out? And he says to me all the time, you have stuff everywhere is your house. I want this little unit.
But why is it in the front? Can't you move it to some other hidden place where it wouldn't bother you?
Oh, no, it doesn't. It's not the bothering. I just like to know. I like things in their place. So when I see his stuff, I like to put it in
Like
his
mail,
place.
you're talking about?
Mail, yeah.
This is what you need to do. Get another nice thing that goes there and put it in. So it's not in his drawer, but he'll go there and look for his stuff.
I'm not sure what his
Or bring it
objection is and
upstairs.
what your objective
He
is.
doesn't like that I take all his stuff and
You
I
mean from
poly-
else of the word? Like
from
if
everywhere,
he left
wherever
something
it-
in the kitchen,
yes.
a price tag of something,
Yes,
or, this,
or
everything.
glass, anything that he has, I just go and I put it inside
Why
the
wouldn't he
drawer.
like that?
He doesn't like that.
But what doesn't he like?
Because he doesn't know.
Would you
He doesn't
like
know what's
that?
new.
Of course he doesn't like that.
exactly.
Of course he doesn't like that. Would you like it? Imagine you put something down in the kitchen and you're looking for it and someone relocated it
Oh,
for
that's
you
what
so
he upsets
kindly.
him?
I would hate it.
And he had also piled up things in his drawer. He put his glass.
housekeeper. I can't
He put his glasses here. He put things in, and then I go and I put things on top of it, and then you can't find his keys because his keys were underneath.
I organized my desk with 12 piles. I knew what was in each one, and she put them all in one. You know how annoying
he
that
does
is?
that. Yes.
You need to get another box for him.
Yes.
So-
you
so
don't
I
So I totally
his
understand
drawer.
this person. That
Yeah,
is-
no. I actually have.
let him
I
live
have
in the
over
house.
in the last year. What'd you say? Get him his own
Let
house.
him live
Oh,
in
live
the house
in
and
his
leave
house.
his
Yeah, that's a
stuff.
problem with that.
You are right.
No, but listen. In the last year, I've gotten like 3, 4, 5. Leah? You haven't. I'm really embarrassed to say, and you haven't covered this in your class yet. Whatever. But what do you do about a messy husband? And I won't say what do you do about a messy wife. It's the same issue. But
Right.
but I'm still totally flummoxed. I don't
Yeah,
understand.
no, right, no. You're like not understanding why I can't sit there and keep his stuff where I find
He's
him, right?
you're
it's totally
you're
OCD.
saying you like things
I'm
put
like
where
the
they are.
housekeeper. When I'm going around cleaning things, I take
Anything
my own
you
things.
find of his.
I take my own things and I do the same thing. I take all my stuff and I gather and I put it in the right spot. Right, I put it into my
Oh, I see.
spot.
So why does it bother him? Because his stuff is all piled up.
Because
Okay.
he wants his stuff like she said, where he
He's
left
running
it.
downstairs to go grab those papers
Right.
that he left somewhere. I'm
They're
like,
not there anymore.
Where are they now?
Correct.
And he always know where
Or
they are,
he
but
left
they're
out
shuffled.
to work and he forgot the papers because he had put them somewhere,
Where he's
remembering to
remembering
take
it.
them,
got
and they
it.
were gone.
Fine.
I'm understanding his plight.
Serene, I think she has cameras in your house. I would check your house for bugs. Okay. Okay. So fine. How do they go? What is a way to resolve this?
To let go and leave everything as it is. Close your eyes.
Close your eyes.
Especially
But
when
it
it's
could
your
be
husband's stuff.
Yeah, close your eyes.
Just take care of your stuff. Be clean in
but
the
if you're very
house.
clean,
Put your
yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
away.
around.
And actually,
cannot
I
let
put
it
it
go.
myself also.
So that's your
Just
challenge.
Let go.
Right.
With everything,
Or
there's
you
compromise.
could put it in his spot. Like, why
Because
can't you
they
put his
do
mail
have
if it
just
comes
one
in a certain
little
area
spot
for him?
also.
Wait, talk one at a time.
But Hannah, his spot is dirty. His desk area where this guy's desk is in a main room. That's the only option they have. They can't put it anywhere else. And it's in a main room, and he's messy like that. He works in that type of mode.
She said on Shabbos they put a sheet over it, which seems also
sounds
very
worse.
Yeah, it seems worse.
Yeah.
What are you saying? Agree with Hannah? What?
You sit down together when you have 2 minutes and you say, okay, I pulled out some pictures from some magazine. Look how they put these boxes, or look how there's a file cabinet there. You work out a compromise that makes everyone happy. Like, there's got to be a way. You're not the first person who ever had piles and you didn't know how to organize it.
But he likes it. She has the whole house. He has one little area, one little desk.
It's in her
Right. So why can't he leave all his mess around wherever he?
No,
his little
because
desk?
he could put it like she could say, the kids are going to start getting bigger and wrecking the piles. The papers are going to be
I
messed
was
up.
just gonna suggest that. Maybe she sends her kids to spill some.
You're taking a step further. I'm going to wreck all your papers. Say the kids did it.
The kids, like she, and you were like, yeah, kids, let's go.
Take the red ketchup. Splatter all over the papers.
Wait. go
I
ahead.
have like a box, like it camouflages with the kitchen, so it's like the same color, like a gray little box. So when he first walks in, it's always the kitchen. So he's holding his phone and the keys, so it goes in that box, okay? And then in his office, he has another box for the mail. I'm like, I have little boxes because, you know, otherwise he'll put it, I don't know,
Anywhere.
somewhere
I told
else.
you, get a box.
So here, you
nice
have
box.
a
I
box,
told
a place for
You
the
love to buy
car
stuff.
keys, house keys, whatever, phone, whatever he's holding, he just drops.
Does
and he
anyone
goes
have
to
this issue, or no? I guess we don't want to call somebody out, but because I'd like to get a little bit deeper. I wish I had her actually on the phone. I'd like to ask her a little bit about what she's tried, because she said she got these wooden boxes and he's just annoyed with these wooden boxes.
Go on a date to the container store.
Oh, yeah.
Get everything out, the containers that would make you happy.
Shallow, so they can see
It has to be shallow.
You know what's cool? Those like clearly sight
like a theme.
They're like sketch.
One combo at a time. Hold on. Wait, guys. Wait. What are you guys saying? What?
So you were saying she doesn't have the financial to do something like more. If she had money, she would do curtains or whatever. So just go to Pinterest and see there are DIY things. And men, they need very, very specific. You can't put a box because it's going to be a mess in this box. Right. So it's an incoming mail, outcoming mail, things to take care of, things to and put little labels on. That's what I did, because in the beginning, before my husband has his own room, he put everything when you walk into the house, and then you see this, mail, and
So everything has its name.
So I just had to get something that has labels
on
and
it.
this is where you put the mail that you need to take care of. This is where you put the things that labeled.
It's little shelves, you have stackables, and it's so easy and nice.
Exactly.
And then you help them organize, they'll be happier. Everyone likes to be organized, just some people, that's not their strength to get there.
If you make it easy for them, then they'll love it.
You guys were having a big
A
secret.
shallow box, not a deep brown big box.
Yeah, not
shallow.
Why shallow? You mean so you can't
Because
put
you
too
don't,
much?
so yeah, you have a few
Right.
papers.
Next
The stacks piled up.
Container store and show different boxes.
Facebook Live at the container store.
You have a notebook with files, dividers.
Okay,
No, but I think it's so much deeper for him. I think he feels like she's not respecting him. He doesn't want her to fix him.
Yeah.
He wants her to accept. He wants her to accept that this is my little place, and why am I not more important than what people walk in? If someone walks into the house and they don't like that little corner, say, that's my corner of love. It doesn't matter. That's my corner of love. That tells me I love my husband. I gave him his little corner and whatever he does with it. And I promise if she accepted what he did, look, and I'm talking to myself. If she accepted what he did, I promise it might take 3, 4, 5, it might take 6 months. He will come around and he will try to please her, make her
So
happy.
she's saying no way. It's
No.
the
The guy's
wife.
a
It's the
messy
wife's
guy,
house.
just a messy guy.
that's
And you
not
know what?
true.
If she wants to help him, I
She never gonna fix it. Her mother never fixed him, and his mother had it for way longer.
his wife.
That you're not making him the mother. You're making the wife the mother by him by trying to fix him.
But I have to say, I got a question also about a car that her husband. She said the car is disgusting.
yeah.
She said, forget about how it looks, how it smells.
yeah.
Oh my God!
Don't
like
go in
old
his car.
whatever. So
No, but
it would be
men
nice with the
oftentimes
finances. It's
feel
just-
upset when that happens.
Thank you.
What did you say,
Thank you.
citizen?
Yes.
All these solutions are very nice, and I think at the end of the day, they'll figure it out. This isn't the hill to die on here. I don't think this is the biggest Shalom Bayis issue ever, to be honest. But most guys, I think most guys in general don't appreciate this sense of being fixed or being told what to do. Even if we try to be very helpful and we have great organizational skills and we want to give them the time and the ideas, I think there's a certain type of man, maybe not your type of man, but I think there are certain types of guys. I think
That
there are
don't
just
wanna be
certain types
fixed,
of
you mean?
guys that when you make this implication, they take it as a far deeper message than what you are trying to tell them. You are just trying to tell them this space is messy, it bothers my sense of aesthetics. They take it more personally. Again, this is not every guy, but there are many guys that don't appreciate a woman coming and fixing them.
For sure,
Or
they don't feel
implying-
respected.
I actually have somebody, Leah, I have someone on the line who would like to share.
Okay,
I
fine.
have a caller on the line, so let's get from.
One second. Thank you for calling in. Give us a second.
Caller on the line. There's a lot of heat in this room. It is hot in LA today. But we are going to let you speak in a second.
I agree. But I do this to my kids. My kids come home from shul on the Shabbos. They took off their shoes. They know that if their shoes are, when I walk in, I see 6 pairs of shoes in the front, I will go.
They'll
So
be
they
gone.
take I just told them, like, it's very simple. You come home, you take your shoes off, you put them in the front. There's a closet there. You don't have to bring them upstairs. They need to go in the closet. So my husband knows that I like things orderly and neat and clean. So he's not taking it personally. It's not only on him. It's that this is how I am. And he understands that it's not only, it's me. It's my thing. Like Chani always tells her husband, it's me. It's my thing.
Right.
That's what she tells. See, listen, it's nothing to do with you. I'm crazy about this. I have this thing that I have to have everything neat. It's not, you're normal, the kids are normal. I'm the psycho in here.
But also you have the respect of the foundation of that beforehand. You have the good communication beforehand.
Okay,
caller on the line.
Caller on the line. We'd love
You
to
are
hear you.
on.
Thank
We'd love
you.
to
Welcome
hear
to the
your
Ladies Talk
thoughts.
Show.
Hello?
Or not.
No. The caller's still there. Hello?
You have to press *6, right?
Yeah, no, the caller's unmuted.
Hi.
Hi.
welcome.
Welcome.
Hi. I actually had a comment, but it was about the other story, the one about the chinuch one.
About the daughter at the alley, the harsh daughter who said who said something about her sister. Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
I could comment on that. But unless you want to stick with this topic about the cleaning, because I could give like a mini comment about the cleaning one.
No, I want to hear go ahead. They're all the same, and I'm going to tie them in just a minute. Right after this call, I'm going to give everybody, including you, the answer to what these all have in common and what our sources say about these issues. Go ahead.
Okay, so just slightly about the cleaning one, because it can relate to the parenting one. But the cleaning one, because I can relate to this, and my whole approach has been different ever since, getting more on board with, how to better be a wife. But I just know, like, for me, like, I've switched to just timing. Like, I feel like I try to very slowly drip in little things about how I prefer things to be. But I feel like timing is everything. Like, if I bring it up to my husband when he's kind of in not the greatest mood, like I wait till he's in a really, like there's like a really nice feeling between us, and I kind of I only try to convey it like in a light-hearted way, and then he seems to be, it's not foolproof, but we've been making like very slow progress. Regarding the parenting one,
good, thank you very much.
I feel like,
great.
Sure, and thank you. I feel like with the parenting one that every case is different. But I feel like, and I'm not saying I'm immune to this, but that we can so bend over backwards to think about like how our children, where they're at, because we think like, oh, they're, there's like these fragile growing people. But I feel like, as people have said, Shalom Bayis comes first. But I think that with not only with Shalom Bayis coming first, I feel like kids are more. A lot more resilient than maybe sometimes we think they are. Maybe psychology leads us to believe. And I think that like with a woman being more that he has the ability to kind of go to both ends. Like to one, with my spouse, I can address it on that end. And parenthetically, like one of my top needs is that even just like once a month. Again, like with a really nice lighthearted feeling, my husband is kind of okay with looking at like a parenting book, and I'll try to get even just like 5 minutes of just like a thing I want to mention.
So you're saying you're advocating that people should have a communication with their husband to get him on page with whatever the same thing that she was saying, right? That getting your husband on page with what you're doing. Is that what you're advocating?
If I feel like there's something that's really important, but I feel like that's even secondary to that. Again, like every case is obviously different, and like I have people wiser than I am to ask questions to, but I feel like I can then go to my child and like privately extract the important message from what my husband said, even if the delivery isn't good, to extract the important message and just help the child highlight what he's trying to parent her with. Like I don't have to give so much attention to his delivery. Like he's not as, I'm guessing your typical husband probably isn't as skilled at communicating and being sensitive. But the extracted message is that like he's standing up for his wife, saying, you shouldn't talk to your mother like that. If you don't like this, like he has a message. It's just maybe was delivered poorly. But I feel like it's important. A child
That's
can be
fantastic.
resilient. Like
That's fantastic. We have to go back.
Yeah,
I
so you're right.
gotta have enough time to give the homework. That was fantastic. Does everybody here understand her point? Her point is his thing of saying go to your room was actually coming to his wife's rescue.
Correct.
He was actually got the right. That's fantastic point, and thank you. And it's also it's kind of seeing the cup half full is rather than half empty. Instead of saying he's handling the kid wrong, she's totally missing that her husband is taking care of her.
Yeah.
That's what? That's for the soup. The other thing is just, okay.
Yeah,
That's
so
fantastic.
amazing.
Thank you very much. I'm going to get to a little bit of a wrap up here because we're running out of time. But your comments are very well taken. I hope you call again, and you really made some great points. Okay. So let's get to.
One joke to say something?
Sure.
They say, I don't know, research shows that a husband that is messy and all this, it shows the very high IQ and high intelligence.
Yeah, genius. Genius are not organized.
Start with a compliment.
Yeah, you have to be.
So here is the topic that we've been discussing today, and we're going to have to continue this next week. But don't worry, I'm going to give you some meat and potatoes to take home with you today. But the issue that we're discussing about all three of these examples is one of control. Control. So we have to understand, and this is we're going to go into much more in depth on this next week. But we have to understand one thing: we have been led by society and the world at large that having control over the situation, having control of where things are going and how they're going and what's going and micromanaging them, we have been taught that having control is the ultimate win. That when we have control and we can take the bull by the horns and manage everything and decide everything and give our opinions on everything, we've got the power and life is going to be good. And what our sources tell us, and we'll go into them next week, what our sources are telling us is something quite different. And that is this. For a man, having control is like oxygen. For a woman, we've been told that having control is like oxygen and it's important to have control, and that control is where power is. That's not what our sources, our 3,000-year-old sources, are telling us. Our sources tell us that there is something far more critical and important for a woman than control will ever be, and that is connection. Connection. It's connecting and bonding with our children, with our husbands, with the people we love, our friends, laughing with our belly laugh because we connected. This is what makes a woman run. This is what makes a woman content. This is what makes a woman thrive in her life, is to be connected. This is not Leah Richeimer's good idea. This is in our sources, okay? I've got 220 sources in here. Our sources tell us this is how God made us. Bulletproof plan for being happy, connect more. Here's the problem. For the last 50, 60 years, we've been drilled into our head, have control, micromanage. It's your way or the highway, baby. Right? That's what we've been drilled in, that having control is the most important ultimate goal. And all it does is make us stressed out messes. Fighting for that control, trying to have control over everything in our life, over our husband, over every aspect of our life, is a huge source of our stress in our life. It's our huge source of our unhappiness. Now, I don't expect me to say this one time and you go home, wow, that was such a great class. I learned it and now I'm better. No, this is a process, okay? And you've been hearing this about control for your entire life, from probably everywhere you went, from walking into a grocery store where you're the one with a credit card, so you're the one that they have to listen to, whatever it is, this whole thing about control and power, we've been sold a bill of goods our entire life. So now that we look inside, look into our Torah sources, 3,000-year-old history that tells us exactly how God created us, and it says that connecting is where our source of happiness is. Now, this is a trial and error kind of a thing. This is a go home, try this, you'll be amazed. Women who I've taught this to and shared this with, they're like, oh my gosh, but the whole world is filled with joy, is completely filled. Like when you're connecting with people, you go to the bank and everyone's annoyed or whatever, and you're connecting with one person behind you in line or with a teller or something. Life is, for a woman, life is filled with pleasantness and joy, and you feel like you're in love with the world. When you're not connected and not, I don't even care. Let's say you have control. You have control over your husband. You have control over your children. You have control over your 10 people on staff. You have you have control of your environment and your situation. You have all the control in the world. You're not going to be as happy as somebody who has zero control and has connection. It's not. That's a fact. I mean, that's we have that from our sources. That's not me making that up. That's how it is. With that in mind, what we're going to learn next week. We are going to learn you cannot have connection. You can either have one or the other. You can either have connection and bond, or you can have control, okay? You can't have both at the same time, okay? So we are going to learn how do we shake that balance. Listen, Leah, if I'm not in control of my kids, all hell breaks loose. I got to be in control. And now you're saying my husband walks through the door and I have to let go of control? Like, are you out of your mind? I'm not saying this is easy, but I'm saying it's guaranteed. Read my lips. Guaranteed for your contentment and your happiness in your life. It's guaranteed. You start becoming more connected and let go a bit of the control. You guys are about to be very, very happy. So I'm going to actually walk you through those examples we gave and what the various answers. I'm sorry we ran out of time. The participation was awesome. I'm sure a lot of us learned a lot more from what you said than from what I said. But next week we're going to have all the answers. It's also going to be a give and take. I love the call. Please continue the calls. Type in questions below on Facebook and on Instagram. We want to hear from you. We want interaction. What do they call it? Engagement. Engagement. My staff keeps saying, "Oh, we need engagement." I'm like, I'm already got engaged and married. What are you talking about? Anyway, so we need more engagement. So we love that. Tag your friends. Tag people. Whatever. I'm playing tag. Whatever. Tag. Let me give the homework. Next week, I'm going to explain to you exactly how to do this, but we're going to start this week. The homework, if I can find it here.
But we're not repeating the homework from last week?
Because you guys were bad at doing, no, it's okay. We got it. We got it. We got that covered. Okay, look over last week's homework. You try that also. Okay, so the Leah's secret of the day for today, the more control that we give up, the more connected we will be. Okay? The more control we give up, the more connected we will be. The homework for the week, notice, you only have to do this one time because it's hard. Notice one time this week when you're trying to control your husband and zip your lip. Only one time. I have news for you because I've done this with 800 and 1,000, a lot of women, and I've done this. And they come back and they're like, Leah, it wasn't one time. I am controlling him constantly. I feel so bad about myself. I'm embarrassed. I just feel like a total control freak. I feel like a control freak, okay? Next week we're going to do a lesson called Control Freak Self-Management, okay? How to overcome being a control freak, okay? We're going to get there. But for now, don't feel bad about yourself. You have been trained since you were a little girl. You've been trained to want control. The news is women, and this isn't very hard because women are naturally want connection way more than they want control. You've been taught to want control. Once you start giving up, it's very easy because you're like, oh, you know what? The husband's like, oh, I've got this, I want that, I want it, and then you're like, instead of saying, hey, we should do this, and you're like, okay, that's fine. And it's like all your stress goes away. He's like, well, what do you think, dear? You will see magic in your marriage from this. Magic, okay? That's what we're going to get there. We're going to teach you exactly how next week. The process starts by noticing when you are taking control from your husband. So that's the homework for the week. This is the Ladies Talk Show. Your host, Leah Richeimer. Thank you guys all very much. Nice crowd. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here. Okay, I think you're still on.